I recently watched a movie called Thanksgiving, and there were a number of life lessons that I learned from what just happened? I recently watched a video. Oh my goodness, a video? What am I talking about? I recently watched a movie called Thanksgiving, and there were a number of lessons that I learned from watching it, so I've made a few videos now talking about different lessons. This is another installment of that series, so if that's of interest to you, then stay tuned. This channel exists to encourage you to continue to be a good person through lessons that are primarily rooted in biblical and Stoic principles. So without further ado, let's get into lesson number 4 from the movie Thanksgiving. I guess most of the lessons that I've learned, that I did learn from watching the movie, are generally in the first 20 minutes of it, because this lesson, like with the past couple, has to do with something that happened at the diner near, like I said, near the, well, at least in the first couple scenes of the movie. To make a long story short, there is the main group of friends, I guess the main characters, their friend group, and the main character, the main girl, she is now dating Ryan, and the friends in the friend group don't necessarily love the guy. They don't hate him. They just don't really have much good to say about him. They said something about, oh, he throws off the vibe of the group or something like that. So he shows up at the diner and they're like, oh, hey, what's happening? And Ryan, he did a, what do you call that? Oh, like a pro gamer move or hey, what is like the trendy thing to say now? I don't know. But he does something very intelligent. He asks the two guys in the friend group what they're going to do for an upcoming football game. And one of them says, oh, I'm going to watch it on my TV in my house. Then Ryan's like, oh yeah, that's cool, you could do that. Or you could watch it with me at the 50-yard line. He pulls out tickets for them. It's like, oh, that's so cool. And so now obviously the two guys in the friend group that didn't care much for Ryan before, they're his best friends now, and something like that. So yeah, once again, smart play by Ryan there. There's another example of something I'm sorry, what just happened? There's another example of something like this happening in a show, my favorite show actually. It's called Video Game High School. The main character comes head to head with the principal of the school, and they're in some kind of a conflict. The principal doesn't want to let the kid play for a specific game or tournament or whatever it was, and the kid, again, he makes a smart move. He remembers what his principal had said to him previously in the season of the show. He says, you know what, Calhoun, at the end of the day, it's all about the game. And that's actually, that line is written on a plaque on the principal's desk. And so the main character, Brian D is his name, he knows that this is something that is important. This line and this idea is important to the principal, so this will probably win him over to some extent. And sure enough, it does. And then the last example I have is of something that happened in my own life. Earlier this year was working at an amusement park of sorts, and I was operating the bumper boats, and there's not much to it. You just have to explain a few rules to the people. Okay, this button does this. Don't unhook the boat until I explain everything and stuff like that. And a man came up and said that he was deaf, like he couldn't hear, and it wasn't explained to me what to do in that kind of situation, probably because it's not very common. Nonetheless, I had to kind of improvise. It's like, okay, what do we do here? So I explained. I just showed him simply how to use the boat, and at the end of the ride, when he was going to leave, I tried to say in sign language, "See you later." Come to find out, I did the wrong sign. Now, to be clear, I didn't say anything. Would rash be the word? I don't know. Nothing bad. I just used the wrong sign, but I did say thank you in the correct sign. So anyway, I hope you're picking up on the relevant theme between these three examples. The idea is to relate to someone in a way that, I guess, interests them. It's like, okay, if you're talking about your hobbies or what have you, that this person doesn't have any interest in, if they're a, I guess, competent adult, they're going to still do their part in acting as if they're interested. But nonetheless, the idea or the lesson or principle is to take advantage of and create opportunities to relate to someone in accordance with their interest. This is actually a principle from the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. I highly suggest that you read that, you take notes on it,
You read the book again and again and again. That and the Bible, those are the two. Well, I mean, Bible first and then this book, but they're just very important. Let me just put it there. But the principle in the book is more specifically talk in terms of the other person's interests. But I'm simply expanding or adding on to that idea and pointing out some hopefully fun examples. But again, read the Bible and read this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a non-negotiable. Get that book right now. Thrift books, wherever you have to get it, just read it. Now, this principle could be misconstrued or taken and used as merely a way to flatter in order to get something from someone. Though this might even work, it probably would. I'm suggesting the principle be used at least primarily for sake of doing good. But you can rest assured it probably would work for if you're just trying to get something. But again, don't use it just for that. And that could be what, in the first example, what Ryan was using it for is simply just to flatter them or what have you. But I'm sure he wanted to be closer with the friend group anyway, and maybe he just wanted to be kind too. Yeah, I mean, who knows? But the idea, use it for good. By caring about the happiness of others, we find our own. That's a quote from Plato. Consider that as much as doing good is primarily for sake of the individual you are interacting with, it's also for you. Doing good changes you. It softens your heart in a good way. It improves your character, and it most oftentimes makes you feel better in general. There are exceptions to that, because sometimes you do good for an individual that just won't have it, and the interaction is just sour in general, and it's on account of only the individual that you're interacting with. Like, it's not even your fault, you're doing your part, and the person just won't have it. But even in those cases, you've still done your part, so you should be happy about that, and it's great practice and experience. If you are wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you will bear it alone. Proverbs 19, verse 12. I mentioned this in a previous video, but it was just as relevant then as it is for this one. Again, doing good, you do good for others, but it'll be good for you too. Doing wickedness is like sport to a fool, and so is wisdom to a person of understanding. Proverbs 10, verse 23. You start to do good, you keep doing it, it becomes not only a habit, but even fun. As I said, this is a series I'm doing, so there are 3 parts out already, so do check those out, and thank you so much for watching this video, episode 4, or lesson number 4. I sincerely hope that this helps you and will, like I said, encourage you to continue to be a good person. So yeah, use the principle today, use it where applicable, and I wish you well with that. God bless and Godspeed. Thank you so much for watching once again, and remember to treat others the way that you want to be treated, and to love God and love your neighbor, and therefore you will continue to be a good person. As always, it's an honor.